Breaking today, growing speculation that Meghan Markle went under the knife before her Paris disaster trip designed to traumatize Prince Harry, with that journey through Paris emulating that of his mother. And of course, I'm no expert on this, but when you look at the before and after images, it starts to become undeniable. Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, has been looking into this evidence. She will reveal what she's found out in just one moment. But first, to two medical experts on both sides of the Atlantic. First up, Dr. Johnny Bettridge. He's based in London. Watch.
So different at the Balenciaga show, so I took a closer look. Looking at her appearance from 5 years ago when she was 39, her features have a softer quality to them. Now at 44, there is a notable shift in how more youthful her face looks, and it looks significantly more defined and lifted. While weight loss can enhance facial definition, that alone does not account for the changes that we're seeing here. I think she's had an upper and lower blepharoplasty and a face and neck lift. The upper eyelids are more on show, there's less skin around the under eye area, and the lower facial contour speaks for itself. Comparing this photo from 2021 to now, the tragus has been slightly altered and the earlobe position has changed in position and also how it attaches to the face. You can clearly see she takes great care of her skin, and non-surgical modalities like skincare, skin devices and Botox will play an important role here in enhancing the overall look.
Okay, so he's very clear. So too is Dr. Jennifer Armstrong, MD. She is based in California. Watch.
Eye shape. Her eyes look more open here, and they look more like almond shape or like squinty in the after picture. And I believe that's because of the filler underneath the eye. So that can push up. It can push up. Like if you go like this, see how it looks more squinty? Maybe I take it back. I'm not a fan of your work, but she does look better. Then going down the face, if you look at her nose, 100%, she's had a rhinoplasty. So do you guys see that this is wider here and narrower here? And you can see more of the bridge of the nose. It's like more, what's the word right? It's just more defined, the bridge here, where the bridge here, it starts narrow and it goes big like this. And here it's like narrow all the way down. It has more structure, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you look at her before picture, she does have, you can see a little bit of a tear trough here. And what I would do is just do like a tiny little drop there. But here it's completely, there's filler here. Going down the face though, if you look at this cheek, this is definitely filler. Do you see this? Where in the before picture, she doesn't have that. Now let's go down to the lips. So here we see a longer distance from the bottom of the nose to the top of the lip. And here it's a very short distance. So she's had a lip lift. And I think a little bit of lip filler. We see more of the pink. Do you guys see that? More of the pink of the upper lip, where here it kind of like slopes down. You kind of lose the pink in the upper lip, where you see more pink in the before, in the after picture. But forget about that. Look at her chin. Look how wide it is. Wow, that's wide compared to the before picture. Very narrow, pointier, right? After picture, very wide, square.
So Angela Levin, no, this is not my area of expertise, but you have been looking into this for some time, and you believe it is true that Meghan Markle has gone under the knife.
Oh, yes. I mean, of course she has. She's never actually said I have, but you can see because certain things have changed quite significantly. And she's that sort of woman, she's going to do with it. I mean, the easiest one is to talk about teeth. When she was younger, she had gaps. And now she's got beautiful teeth, and that helps her give us all a lovely, shiny smile. So that's that. And then, but actually more important again is the face, of course. And she had a different sort of face, really. She had a bridge that was too defined. So they worked on that, and they worked on the side, and all of the freckles which they use, the skin looked flawless because of all her freckles. This was a Dr. Motiki, who actually wins loads and loads of awards for talking about Meghan's body. And he went on to talk about that when she was between 20 and 30, she had definitely a nose job, and that made it smaller and neater. And so she was pleased with that. But what's interesting is that her bosoms, her breasts, and that she did plant them. We saw it when she was a girl who was giving out cards and young and very sort of trying to get into the world of being a success. And she had implants on her breast, she says, but she later took them out because she didn't want them then. And if you take them out when they're not too big, apparently, it's not something I know for myself here, that it's very easy to take them out. And that's what she wanted, because, you know, I've seen when she's very flat and you see her when she's quite not very flat. And that's what she does. I think she wanted to have quite big breasts when she was doing things like opening boxes and smiling at people and trying to sell lots of money. But you know, now she thinks she's so amazing that she probably doesn't want that sort of thing anymore. But now she is in her 40s. He said that she's obviously had a bit of Botox, not very much, but it helps with aging. Yeah, there we are. These are the pictures. Yeah, good. The other doctor is Dr. Vantan Madrisosian, and he said in 2018 he would never treated Meghan, but he did understand that the top of her nose is more refined now, absolutely, and much more rotated. I can't quite see how you rotate a man, but a nose, but you know, that's what he said. And the same thing again about when she was on Suits, she had a wider, more bulbous, what he calls a bulbous nose tip. And then with Harry in 2017, she had a sort of then a new Meghan Markle nose, and it was a desirable straight profile with a defined tip, and so on. So that's how it is. They think that she does have all this because it just makes her look pretty. I mean, both of these doctors thought she was a very attractive woman, very glamorous, but she just needed a bit here and a bit there.
So Angela, do you buy into the idea that she's doing this now, and that the reason that she's bowed out from the spotlight over the past few months is that because, as ever, has been a bit of a disaster, even she acknowledges that. So she knew she had to come back with a more high-end fashion look, and this was the big launch.
Yes, one person said she looked as if she was wearing toilet paper. So I think that they were not very impressed by it.
What's quite interesting, I think, when you look at all of this, that she is definitely suffering at the moment from a career slump until Saturday. Is this going to turn it around? That is the question, because Samara Gill said she is in one of the worst professional places ever. But the Royal News Network argued it's hard to argue against this. Meghan peaked in late March, early April, and it's the most downhill ever since. She produced too much bad content, bad products, and bad podcasts, and people are just sick of her at this point. Watch what Samara Gill had to say about it, Angela. Big news. Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Is probably in one of the worst professional places she's ever been. Her podcast has been effectively cancelled, that she had Confessions of a Female Founder. Her Netflix is looking for first deal. Her Jam didn't sell out when it was released. She's in a really bad way, and I know that I do say this quite often, but I do think the money is drying up as a couple, and that's why they now want reconciliation, because for the past 5 years, all they've been doing is dragging the King and Prince William and Catherine into the mud, and now they want reconciliation? The timing is really strange, and I think the palace is privy to the fact that there's something up, maybe, in Hollywood, in Montecito.
Well, indeed. But Angela, does this change the game? Does the fact that finally a high end fashion brand, and I know Balenciaga, right, has all of these issues, it's like the child sex fashion brand, you know, its credibility is on the floor, but she's finally got a high end fashion brand connected to her. Does that change anything in terms of the career disaster that she's facing?
No, because whatever she tries to do, she's an absolute failure because she doesn't let anyone else who's got a lot of experience tell her what to do, give her advice. She thinks she knows the lot. And so I can almost guarantee that whatever she does, she makes a mess of, or she thinks she's too clever and she makes a mess that way. I don't think she will get on anywhere. And I think there's more and more people who are doing that. I think this particular fact of going past Diana's tunnel is the most disgusting of anything. And I think that anybody who might think, well, let's give her a chance, I hope they think again and don't, because it's really enough. I just hope that Harry will actually think, this is no good for me. I can realize now it's just too appalling. I don't know how you can ever do that to a husband that you love. It's just too dreadful.
Totally. But the thing is, Angela, I've been hoping that for some time, but it always feels like just when one woke company is waking up, you know, Spotify first, then Netflix, then there's always another. This is the problem. There's too many companies infected by the woke mind virus. And I mean, they only have to look at something like this about the bullying from Meghan Markle's Sussex squad, which continues to this day, Angela, even though the mainstream media never talks about it. Look at this from Austin Lee Moore.
Okay, so Meghan Markle, I just want to say, is the queen of bullying. Okay, she hires these influencers who are the Markle, like their whole page is like Meghan Markle. It's, you know, they're obsessed with her, but she pays them, okay, to go and attack other pages, bots, in other terms. But there's also actual people who will come for you. Like, I don't have a huge following, okay, and this one, like, they came for me. They come for other people. And you know what the funny thing is she watches those stories and she is like, okay, the guy that came for me, he bragged about Meghan watching his stories. And guess who was the first person to pop up on his thing? Meghan. Just saying, if Meghan is all about that peace and finding her tranquility, it doesn't seem like she's doing that. It seems like she is being a bully and manipulating things like she always does. And she is just the ultimate queen of trying to hold the narrative. But guess what, girl? It's slipping because people are starting to figure you out and you are a shady bitch.
And I mean, Angela, we know from personal experience that what that dude is saying is true.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've had them when they tried to make it very difficult for me and said all my friends were revolting and half hard right and Nazis. Well, as I'm Jewish, it's quite unlikely I would go out with lots of Nazis, I can assure you that. And they were just very, very, very unpleasant, threatening me. They'd either rape me or they'd kill me, all sorts of things. But you just have to say, well, you know, where do you live? You don't know where I live. Get lost. I think you have to ride over it. I think it was hideous in the first times, but then now I don't take any notice. I'm not interested in what they say. And I think that it's actually terrible that a woman cannot sort of be fond of doing that sort of thing. Gives her pleasure. That's what makes her feel big. But I think it's very nasty. And I don't think that she's going to make it because she hangs on to Harry all the time. She's got his hand, his body, he can't move. He doesn't want him to go unless she gives him a sort of break for 2 days, 4 days, what it is. But actually, when he's in a big place, she's very, very nervous, like she was in the French place, that she can't really do it because she's not been taught. how to be behaved properly and how to make small talk and how to be pleasant. She just doesn't know. She's very awkward. And I think she's desperate for Harry. Now, if Harry goes away, it'll be very, very difficult for her. And I think people will lose interest because really, essentially, it's all about Prince Harry. And then it's what Prince Harry's wife is up to.
True, Angela. But then there's also people who are close or were close to Meghan Markle. Even today, Angela, we are still learning news stories of people who she has ghosted along the way. And the latest to speak out is a man called Nick Eade. Now, he has always been very famous and powerful in the London world of celebrity and showbiz and that socialite world, really. And he was the first to bring Meghan into the fold in London at that global gift gala where she was hanging out with the likes of Lizzie Cundy and Eva Longoria. And the thinking was that they had always remained friends. But Nick Eade has now appeared on Woke ITV's Royal podcast to reveal that just like Piers Morgan, he too has now been ghosted. Watch this. But first, you know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected, but I've been increasingly thinking of the need too for personal protection from snoopers, from bad actors, from hackers, all online. And I'm delighted to tell you I've found the fail-safe solution. And this virtual private network, or VPN, is a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So I want to introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible, easy-to-use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activity stays safe so you can shop, you can stream, you can browse, you can conduct your banking in complete privacy online. But the benefits of Surfshark go way beyond keeping you safe. It also allows you to access your favorite entertainment and news shows and international streaming services like Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, Peacock, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and if your favorite shows are geo-blocked, within seconds, you can be watching as if you're in another country. Really helpful, by the way, for traveling for work or on holiday. I did this recently when I went to Barbados. I could still get all of my favorite content from home using Surfshark, including sports. Plus, it's an insurance policy against creeping censorship in so many countries, which do block particular services like Rumble, for example. What Surfshark allows you to do is watch anything, anytime, anywhere. True freedom. Plus, and I didn't know this, a VPN can save you money, because you can get the best deals from websites that actually change their prices depending on which part of the world you are buying from. You can use Surfshark on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And there are over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, meaning a world of choice is at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if this is your first time using a VPN. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. And this is super important. Surfshark is so confident that it is the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken right now for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But now, back to the show.
I think that people evolve, and I don't have any grudge in any way.
Right.
I think,
So Meghan needed you and then didn't?
Meghan needed you and didn't.
Okay.
I introduced her to lots of agents, model agents. I sort of really ingratiated her into the London life, which I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
Because she was a fantastic person to be around. And we kept on, texting each other for quite a while. And even when she was with Harry, she was still texting me. And then after a while, we kind of petered off. I did what I did, and she went off to become
became one of the most famous people in the world, of course. But Piers Morgan always tells the story of being ghosted by her, like she reached out to him. But this was 2014.
Yes.
And I was looking back at actually some of the interviews Meghan did at the time when she was referring to the UK as having cold weather, but the people are warm, and that she'd like to hang around for a while. And that was an event that you took her to.
That was, a big charity event I took her to. I took her to various different parties, etc.
Yeah.
We used to go clothes shopping. It was really good fun. And, I actually didn't have
I
any...
used to go clothes shopping with Meghan Markle.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
But, the funny thing is, I also took her to see some agents, and we had some really fun times. And one agent, it's crazy, actually turned around to her and said, I think you should be in pantomime. When a man plays a woman plays a man, we make a great prince.
And being American, she said, what is pantomime?
What is that? And then he went, do you know David Hasselhoff? And she went, yes. Well, he makes a lot of money in 3 weeks. And then about 4 years later, the same person calls me up and says, do you remember that delightful girl that came to my office? I said, yes, a future princess. There we go. Yes. A real one.
She's not a prince in a pantomime.
Exactly.
A real one.
In real life. Look,
But Angela, I guess my big takeaway is another one bites the dust.
I had a long talk to him. He was in a terrible state. I can't remember where it actually was, but it was something royal. And he'd been dumped by Meghan, and he was absolutely heartbroken. It wasn't, I took her here and there. It was, look, I took her and then she didn't want me and she didn't this. He was absolutely heartbroken. He felt he'd done a huge amount for her. But why he now put it back all wrapped up nicely is extraordinary. I think, well, we have heard so many people are terrified of her. I'm not terrified of her. I'm sure you're not terrified of her. But a lot of people are very terrified of her. And they think that actually she will get her way because she's powerful, she's got money, they think so anyway. And that she's got no end of how ghastly she can be, like she's been with Diana. And I think that's all about it, actually, that people are just scared of her. And people read to say, or listen to say, how ghastly can you get? So this is the way she's made a lot of money and people know her. I don't think I would know anybody who would want to do that. But she likes that because it's power.
I know.
You don't agree?
No, I do. I do. I think it is about power.
Yes.
And I think it's also about abuse of people, actually, and
Yes.
abusing people's trust, abusing people's goodwill.
Because she's so aggressive about it, isn't she? Once you've done one thing that is wrong, you said the wrong thing, you've gone absolutely.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you were her best friend. I mean, look at Jessica Mulrooney and Tyler Perry, for example, two recent examples of that. But Angela, I want to speak about the other extraordinary story that has emerged over the past 24 hours, somewhat overshadowed, of course, by Meghan Markle's antics in Paris, but in some ways just as bizarre. So this is Prince Harry and claims of a female stalker in London during his recent visit, specifically linked to the favourable press, Angela, so that everyone thinks, oh God, how terrible that King Charles hasn't given him the security. Harry's life is on the line. Now, actually, when you look at the full footage that I have, this stalker is a black woman who, by all accounts, appears to be a major fan, a member of the Sussex Squad, someone who has travelled all around the world to see Prince Harry. Okay, that probably does make her crazy, right? Like, why would you travel all around the world to see Prince Harry? But as according to Taz says on this, now, whilst I do not want any physical harm to come to Harry or anyone, I do find this funny. Harry has actively encouraged the Sussex Squad for years, despite the vile attacks that they do on people. They actively stalk and harass people that they think have disrespected their idol. I know so many people that have been targeted online and also at their homes, me included. They have continually harassed individuals, contacted people's employers with false allegations, prank called police to go to people's homes and use pictures of people's children in their schools, doxing relatives, people's parents, etc. So I find this a little bit of toxic karma that one of them is now stalking Harry. However, I'm not convinced that this isn't arranged so he can keep pushing for security. And Angela, there was a news story today which said that Prince Harry's female stalker was found hiding in hotel toilets 20 minutes before he arrived at the event. I mean, what do you make of it,
He wasn't in the
Angela?
male toilets.
Yeah, what do you make of it?
Well, I mean, she's fallen in love with him at one level, or she's a bit sort of dopey and just enjoys chasing him around. I don't know how she gets to know where he's going each time? How can she know which hotel he's in, which country he's going to? As they went to Nigeria, didn't they? Abuja, he was there, she was there. How does she know all that? So somebody is telling her. She won't find out otherwise. So I think it's all very, very mysterious. But I just think maybe it's a good way that the government will think again and will have people following him absolutely everywhere. But I mean, how does she know, this woman? How does she know? And which toilet is he going to go to, for goodness sake, as well?
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, that's not very tactful.
Well, no, but I guess the point being, right, all celebrities deal with a degree of serious fandom, and I think Harry is hysterical, and the leak of this information proves that this is hysterical. I mean, if for example there was an Islamist terror threat against him, go to the police immediately. They will immediately put people on this, and their major team on this. Oh, there's a bit of a stalker fan with no history of violence, who's traveled all around the world with no history of doing anything against me. I mean, this to me was very, very weak source. Yes. Very weak source that this is all he had to leak. But I also think this provides a real message to King Charles, Angela Levin, because even though Charles relented and had that face-to-face meeting with Prince Harry, which was very much on the proviso, stop going on about the security stuff because you want me to overrule my own government. It's not going to happen because it would lead to a constitutional crisis. Harry can't help himself. He gets his meeting, Angela, doesn't speak about security as far as we know at the meeting, but within a fortnight is already trying to pile the pressure on King Charles because, of course, this story was leaked to the pro-monarchy newspaper, the Daily Telegraph. It appeared in a front page report. I tried to read the whole thing. I mean, I did get all of my way through it, Angela, but I mean, it might as well have been authored by Prince Harry himself. It was such a piece of propaganda. And of course, the reason it goes to the Daily Telegraph is that they want the king. Harry wants the king to read this. He's trying to send a message to the king through the media again. So what was the point in doing the meeting, Charles? It's pointless.
But it's very strange, isn't it? Because he goes to see Charles. He desperately wants to see him. He wants to be united again. And then the next week, he does something completely the opposite. Makes it very, very difficult and becomes very rude, like the time he did with the BBC, saying how terrible things they were for him. He does know how to behave up to a certain extent. And if he wants something, you have to be nice, you have to be soft, you have to go their way, you have to do what they want. And so they can see that you're improving. If you just say something, we don't know what he said this time, but if you then immediately afterwards, you start lying and being aggressive, you're not going to get anywhere. So he sort of puts it down and then takes it away. I think this is Meghan. I'm sorry to say that again, but I think she watches everything he's doing and works out what to say and when, and keeps him in the most terrible state that he doesn't know where he is or how he can manage.
Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, thank you so much. We will speak next week. Thank you, Angela. And of course, if you do want first access to our Royal Uncancelled after show, Monday to Friday, twice the length of what you've just seen, then do sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. You'll hear from all of our favourites. Angela, of course, according to Taz, the Royal News Network, the Sidley twins, P. Dinah, Lady Colin Campbell, they are all there. And we give you the royal news every single weekday that you simply do not get from the Royal Rota or the mainstream media. We have some fun along the way too, and Substack is a real community where you can message me direct. So www.outspoken.live is the address. Go for the monthly paid or annual subscription if you do want first access to the Royal Uncancelled after show every single weekday, which you can watch live or on demand with no advertising whatsoever. Quick repeat of the address, www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source. and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.